If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
So, did Gal Gadot just throw some shade at Rachel Zegler? The whole Snow White boycott is really heating up, and everyone's buzzing about it. What exactly did Gal say to stir things up, and why is Rachel at the center of this drama? It looks like Gal has taken a shot at Rachel, and honestly, the behind-the-scenes chaos is getting a bit messy. There's chatter that these two are really at odds, and it's hard to look away. Think of it as a little Don't Worry Darling 2.0, but this time we're in the enchanted forest. According to the Daily Mail, they've got a headline that reads like a soap opera inside the Snow White cast drama as Rachel Zegler locks horns with Gal Gadot, who will be crowned the fairest of them all. Forget about poisoned apples, this feud might just be the wild twist we didn't see coming. And get this. It's not just a one-time spat. Rachel seems to have a knack for stirring things up with her co-stars.so. Here's the deal: it all kicked off when Rachel brought up the Gaza conflict while promoting the movie. Disney dropped the first teaser trailer for Snow White back in August, and while it racked up a jaw-dropping 120 million views in 24 hours, the reactions were, well, a bit mixed. Some fans were disappointed with the casting, saying that neither Rachel nor Gal really resembled the classic characters. Still, there was definitely some buzz around the film. Rachel hopped on X to thank her fans for their support, but then she hit everyone with a tweet that read, "Always remember Free Palestine." And boy, did things escalate fast. The tweet went viral, but not for the reasons you'd want. Rachel got some serious backlash from Jewish fans, many of whom even called for a boycott of the film. No matter where you stand on this, one thing's clear: that wasn't the best way to promote a major movie. Sure, free speech is important, but maybe saving the political talk for after the press tour would have been smarter. After all, the whole cast and crew are counting on this film to succeed. If the box office tanks, they could all be in hot water, something that feels more likely every day. And how's Disney handling this? Let's just say they're not exactly thrilled. Rachel's decision to bring up such a sensitive topic during the Snow White promo seems like it could backfire, especially with Gal's strong connections to Israel. Gadot's an Israeli citizen and has a military background, which makes her personally invested in the whole situation. She's been open about supporting Israel during major conflicts, like the 2014 Gaza war and the recent October 2023 attacks by Hamas, where she condemned violence and pushed for peace. So, Rachel's Free Palestine tweet, especially after thanking fans for backing her up, came off as more than just political. It felt like a direct hit at Gadot, given how different their views are. You guys, Rachel Zegler is really shaking things up. During her promotional tour for the new Disney movie, she decided to share her political views, and let's just say it stirred up quite a bit of controversy. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot has been handling the situation pretty calmly, but with some pointed remarks. She posted a Martin Luther King Jr. quote on her Instagram, talking about love and light driving out darkness. It really contrasted with Rachel's Free Palestine comment, and you could just feel the diplomatic tension. But wait, it gets juicier. Gadot couldn't help but throw a little shade at Rachel on Twitter, retweeting someone who called out another person for campaigning at the expense of their co-star who's actually living through a war. Ouch. That was definitely a direct hit at Rachel's perceived insensitivity. Gadot made it pretty clear she wasn't impressed with how Rachel was handling things, accusing her of using a deeply personal conflict to grab attention. Fast forward to Disney's D23 event, where both stars were supposed to be promoting the film together. The vibe? Super tense. Social media went wild over the photos of them on stage. Gadot looked warm and friendly, even throwing her arm around Zegler, but you could see that Zegler was not comfortable at all. Her body language said it all. She seemed like she was just trying to get through the moment. As this feud keeps unfolding, fans are left wondering how Disney plans to manage this drama as the film's release date gets closer. Public appearances are turning into awkward encounters, overshadowing what was supposed to be a magical movie experience. It feels like Snow White is about to become way more infamous than anyone expected. Will they be able to salvage the film? Who knows? But right now, it definitely feels like a PR nightmare. And speaking of casting, can we talk about how Disney decided to cast Rachel Zegler as Snow White? I mean, a lot of people were left scratching their heads. Were they even paying attention? Can you believe Rachel Zegler wants to get paid for every hour Snow White streams? At this rate, she might as well audition for Desperate Housewives. Honestly, this whole situation feels less like a classic Disney movie and more like something out of a reality show. It's like she thinks snagging this iconic role is the ultimate jackpot. And get this, she's already pocketed a whopping $2 million for it. Not too shabby for someone just starting out, right? To put it into perspective, when Andrew Garfield first put on the Spider-Man suit, he definitely wasn't rolling in dough. He made about half of what Rachel's getting now, and did he complain? Not a peep. He took the role, cashed the checks, and ran with it. But Rachel asking for a cut every time the film plays? That's like saying she wants royalties every time someone clicks play on Netflix. Really, Rachel? And speaking of reactions, the internet is pretty much not on her side right now. Fans are definitely voicing their thoughts, and let's just say her comments haven't exactly gone over well. Rachel as Snow White? That's a choice that's left a lot of us scratching our heads, especially since she seems to have some major issues. Zegler doesn't exactly give off fairest of them all vibes unless they're going for something really different. Maybe they were aiming for Snow White's kindness and humility, but if that's the case, they totally missed the mark. And don't get me started on her now infamous comment about standing in a dress for 18 hours as an iconic Disney princess she boldly declared she deserves. With the original story. If you've heard her in interviews, it feels like she's trying to rewrite the 1937 classic. You can almost hear the disdain in her voice when she talks about the original plot. Now let's chat about her take on the prince. The creepy guy stalking Snow White? Yeah, that's not the fairy tale vibe we all remember. Sure, not every character needs to be perfect, and she might have a point, but let's be real, there's a reason we still love the original film. Those characters have a nostalgic charm that just doesn't fade. With this modern twist on the beloved classic, Disney and Rachel seem all about flipping the script. According to her, we might not even see a traditional prince this time around. Instead, dead. We could get a whole new kind of prince, or maybe none at all. Andrew Burnap, the actor supposedly taking on this mysterious role, might just end up being more of a side note than a main character in this new Snow White. It looks like our princess has swapped out her dreams of true love for something bigger, becoming a strong leader, just like her late father wanted. Forget waiting for Prince Charming, this Snow White is all about making moves. Now we have a Snow White who's all about climbing the leadership ladder and isn't really worried about that whole true love thing. If you were looking for a classic love story, you might want to stick with the original movie. Imagine Snow White running a corporate empire where it's all about leadership first and love later, if at all. At Disney's D23 2023 showcase, we got a sneak peek of the remake, and honestly, the trailer left a lot of people scratching their heads, not in a good way. When you compare it to the beloved 1937 classic, it's pretty clear this new version has taken a sharp detour. Remember how, in the original, Snow White stumbles upon the dwarf's cottage, thinks it's full of kids, and out of kindness, decides to clean it up. She even gets her cute little animal friends to help because, let's be real, Snow White is all about sweetness and care. It was really about nurturing and earning her place. But fast forward to Zegler's version of Snow White, and wow, it's a whole different vibe. She struts into the dwarf's home like she owns the place, barking orders instead of lending a hand. Forget about cleaning and nurturing, she's in full-on boss mode. She's telling the dwarfs to clean up their own mess while she supervises. That gentle caretaker vibe? Apparently romance is so 1937, now it's all about ruling kingdoms and chasing dreams. I mean, what's a timeless fairy tale without a bit of ambition, right? Alright, let's chat about this modern feminist twist on Snow White. Gone are the days when a charming prince would swoop in with a magical kiss to save the day. Totally gone? It feels more like a corporate CEO handing out tasks. So what exactly is Snow White bringing to the table here? She's not helping around the house but is quick to take charge. Is this Disney's modern femin? Is take on domestic roles? It really makes you wonder, why would the dwarfs even let her stick around if she's not pulling her weight? Disney's effort to update Snow White for today's audience seems to be missing one key ingredient: solid storytelling. In their rush to move away from traditional roles and embrace modern identity politics, they've lost some real character depth and a gripping narrative. What we're left with feels more like a guest who has overstayed her welcome rather than the fairy tale heroine we all grew up loving. And then there's the plot twist. The big conflict is that Gadot's evil queen is supposedly jealous of Snow White's beauty. Seriously? Are we supposed to buy that? In a world with magic mirrors and an evil queen, the mirror suddenly decides to lie? It feels like the film is tripping over its own premise. Some folks have even chimed in with comments that nail the casting choices perfectly. So, in a pretty bold move, Snow White tells the prince, "I don't need a man," and his quick comeback is, "That's fine. I'm here for your stepmom." I mean, that's a punchline if I ever heard one. It really sums up the movie's struggle to balance a feminist twist with some logic. Honestly, if Disney keeps tripping over itself like this, we might need more than a magic mirror to save this fairy tale. And then, there's Rachel. She's definitely not one to keep quiet when things get rough. After noticing that the internet is all about Team Gal Gadot, Rachel decided to clap back on Instagram with a selfie captioned "The fairest oh boy." She really went for it, claiming the title of prettiest. But spoiler alert, it didn't really go the way she planned. The comment section blew up, and fans rushed to support Gal, saying she's the real beauty and throwing shade at Rachel for acting a bit diva-ish. Instead of getting the last laugh, Rachel just handed her critics even more reasons to chime in. It's like watching someone set a trap for themselves and just walk right into it. Let's be real, claiming "I'm the fairest" reeks of jealousy. She doesn't have to be best friends with Gal, but taking cheap shots in public? That's not really what you expect from a leading lady. It feels unprofessional and kinda disrespectful, especially since she's supposed to be promoting the very movie that's now getting dragged. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, Disney is gearing up for another round of shows, the whole shebang. The timing is just wild for Disney, which must be sweating bullets trying to figure out how to handle this growing feud while keeping their movie's reputation intact. So what's going to happen next? Are Rachel and Gal going to make nice, or is this feud about to turn Disney's promo efforts into a full-on circus? With tensions so high, it's clear that Disney's new approach to its classics is under some serious scrutiny. In this controversial reboot, Disney has really nailed the art of turning beloved animated fairy tales into live-action flicks. Some films like Beauty and the Beast, The Jungle Book, and The Lion King did amazing at the box office, even if the reviews were mixed. But others? Yikes, they crashed and burned so hard that even Disney might want to sweep them under the magic carpet. But the studio keeps pushing forward, determined to give its classics a modern twist, whether we like it or not. As for Snow White, it looks like it might end up in the latter category. So, what's really going on here? How did the studio mess this up so badly? Aside from the cast drama, the creative choices definitely haven't helped. Originally, Snow White was supposed to hit theaters in March 2024, but out of nowhere, Disney pushed it back a whole year to March 2025. They officially blamed the delay on the SAG-AFTRA strike, but come on, a year-long delay just for that? Something feels off. More likely, Disney needed the extra time to sort out some major issues. The big conflict is that Gadot's evil queen is supposedly jealous of Snow White's beauty. Seriously? Are we supposed to buy that? In a world with magic mirrors and an evil queen, the mirror suddenly decides to lie? It feels like the film is tripping over its own premise. Some folks have even chimed in with comments that nail the casting choices perfectly. They move like awkward video game characters from the early 2000s, especially when they're dancing with Snow White. It's way more awkward than magical what happened to that classic Disney vibe. If that wasn't enough, it seems this decision has also hit Disney hard in the wallet. The budget, which was already a hefty $200 million, has ballooned to a jaw-dropping $330 million, making it one of the top 10 most expensive films ever. Can you believe it's even more expensive than Avengers: Infinity War, where superheroes are battling it out across galaxies? Disney is really in a tight spot, and we haven't even talked about marketing costs yet. Plus, theaters will be taking their cut from the box office. Financially, this whole situation is a real mess. Experts are saying Snow White will need to pull in around $900 million, maybe even $1 billion to break even. Given the trailer's lukewarm reception, that sounds like a stretch. It may not be the most disliked trailer ever, but it's definitely Disney's most ratioed one, with 7 million views, 70,000 likes, and a staggering 1 million dislikes. Ouch. That's like 1 like for every 10 dislikes. With such a chilly reception, it looks like Snow White might end up being a huge financial and reputational flop for Disney. They've had a tough time hitting the mark lately, and while Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine gave them a little boost, this film might just send them back into flop territory. Can they turn this ship around, or are we about to witness Disney's next big disaster? What do you think about the feud between Rachel and Gal? Could that affect the film's success when it finally hits theaters? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun content.